All right, welcome everyone. This is our regular council meeting for Monday, March 25th. And before we get started, I would ask that you please rise for the pledge of allegiance. We would like to begin by respectfully acknowledging that the town of Shelburne resides within the traditional territory and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, including the Ojibwe, Potawatomi, Chippewa, and the people of the Three Fires Confederacy. These traditional territories upon which we live, work, play, and learn are steeped in rich Indigenous history and traditions. So with this statement, we declare to honor and respect the past and present connection of Indigenous peoples with this land, its waterways and resources. The usual reminder to members to declare any pecuniary interest they may have with respect to any item on tonight's agenda. On to our minutes from the March 11th regular council meeting. I move in a seconder to approve those minutes and circulate to Councilor Sample, seconded by Councilor Wagner.
Here.
All right. Councilor Otto.
Right.
Any questions or comments in those minutes? No. All in favor? Here. No members of the public are in the gallery this evening. Are there any electronic questions? Okay. All right, we have one proclamation for this evening, and that's for Autism Awareness Day. Whereas autism is a pervasive developmental disorder affecting the social, communication, and behavioral skills of those affected by it, and whereas more health professionals are becoming proficient in diagnosing autism, more children are being diagnosed on the autism spectrum, resulting in rates as high as 1 in 68 children nationally. And whereas, while there is no cure for autism, it is well documented that if individuals with autism receive early and intensive treatment throughout their lives, they lead significantly improved lives. And whereas individuals with autism often require a lifetime of specialized and community support services to ensure their health and safety and to support family resilience as they manage the psychological and financial burdens autism can present. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Wade Mills, on behalf of the council, do hereby proclaim April 2nd, 2024 as Autism Awareness Day in the town of Shelburne, and urge all residents to participate in autism awareness activities in order to become better educated about autism and to create a better community for individuals with autism. And one of the ways that you can do that would be to attend our flag raising, which will be on Thursday, this coming Thursday, March 28th at 10 a.m. Just across the street at Jack Downing Park Flagpole. Any council inquiries from the senior council Donato?
I know that our director of public works is not here tonight, but I do have a question, hopefully get an answer at our next meeting. It's in regards to, with the good weather that will be coming in the near future. I've had a lot of inquiries about fixing the sides of the sidewalks where our machines have cut into, about complaints, and, I know hopefully, I guess, for me, maybe to get the people that are asking, and I'm sure other councilors, when that public works will be able to get at fixing those, issues as well as maybe on scene. So I'll leave that answer whenever he's back. That's not necessary for tonight. I know the weather's not yet there to allow for that.
Okay,
I'm good with that, so wait for Jim.
all right,
I heard it, but
sure.
so through the mayor. The reality is that this is an issue we deal with every year.
Yeah.
And we have a protocol on when we'll schedule it, we try to provide an outline if we're going to get to it, it's usually as soon as the weather is cooperating. And we schedule that as part of our maintenance follow-up, and there's some of the structural issues can be fixed quicker than the sodding proceeding, if that's even more relevant on the weather cooperating. But it's certainly, if you do get comments from members of council, 2 members of council, if you send them to staff, or alternatively to the section within our web page that actually answers a series of questions with respect to what happens if snowplow or our operating maintenance team damages the boulevards, which are within actually our town property. This is the protocol and the time. So we have the same comments, I think, when the weather turns nice, and I think it's a natural expectation that suddenly we will, shift gears and commence those types of work. Well, it's just not possible to shift gears within, say, a 2-week time span, but we'll certainly, if the weather hopefully gets nicer, spring really is prevalent in Shelburne, we'll get to the work. And I think, Walter, before we need to wait till the next meeting, I certainly think that what we can do is staff tomorrow through the operations team is send you an email just outlining where we are in terms of timelines.
Okay, and I guess as an additional follow-up on the cleaning of the sidewalks, it's the same protocol as what permits that we have been cleaning starting at September.
Yeah, so there's two components to the cleaning. There's the road cleaning, which we actually contract out. I think that RFP is actually in the process of closing. And the sidewalks, we actually manage that internally. So again, same situation. What we want to make sure is if we did get another storm event, and because of our application, which is predominantly sand, what we don't want to do is clean the sidewalks, have that end of March, early April storm event, do applications only to reinstate it back on the sidewalks. We want to really know that we are done with the snow, please go away, and then we can proceed with some of those maintenance activities. So most likely it won't be in the next couple of weeks. It's something that would happen when we get a little bit total security that we're not. Especially on the sidewalks. Ice. Exactly, because we still have to do an application if we get a certain temperature where there is actually a layer of rock, I think we will do an application for water.
The winter parking, well, like that, it ends in April.
14, 15, yes,
15,
yes.
Okay.
1 AM. Oh,
at 1 AM.
12.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's on our website somewhere, if you'd like to know.
Correct, and there are signs posted at every entrance to town as well.
Okay, excellent, thank you. That's it.
Any other fires? Councilor Sample?
Just not an inquiry, just a thank you. I had a few messages and talks with people on the Franklin Street. They want to thank us for getting the digital sign put out for tracking purpose of our Franklin speeders. So they just wanted to thank us. So thank you.
Cindy?
Oh, good.
Councilor Bichardi? All right, so we'll move right along then. So the first report is authored by our Director of Development, who's not here tonight, but it's pretty straightforward. correct me if I misrepresent this in any way, but it's a extra strength surcharge agreement with Blue Mountain Plastic, which essentially is designed to provide some compensation for the extra load that's created at the sewage treatment plant as a result of their recycling activities. And it's just a routine updating of that agreement, which expires in May, right? Perfect. Any questions on that?
Just one, is there any chance that there will be an increase in their outgoing of, in the 5-year period? If they expand the commitment each year?
So through the mayor, similar to what was in Jim's report, we monitor their existing discharge. And all aspects of that arrangement have the flexibility to be revisited if there are adjustments. So when we looked at this renewal, there was an evaluation on the current utilization or the current discharges, the current processing impacts related to the costs. So we have the flexibility, if those things change in the term of this 5-year renewal, we would come back with adjustments. Additionally, anything on the discharge side of this service is highly regulated by the Ministry of the Environment. We have very stringent reporting to make legislative compliance reports. That would all be captured in those reporting requirements to the ministry and our monitoring mechanisms. So if there were any triggers that created a deviation from us usually having a 99.9% reporting score, we would identify what's creating that and make any adjustments accordingly.
But that would not affect our limits on the plant.
No.
I guess where I'm sort of trying to drive that.
No, when we went through with the discharge review on the simulated capacities, when before the review on the development and engineering and design with FDA was permitted to proceed for the $2 million up to, we had to go through a very robust analysis of the ministry on discharging. And that had to factor in all of the industries and all of the potential utilizations to ensure that that plant expansion was in keeping with what we would be doing. And they're fairly aware of the scope of industry that we have, the type of industry, and the nature of what they're producing. So we're confident that we've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. And again, this is probably one of the most highly regulated areas of municipal service within the provincial authority.
Need a motion to receive the report and to provide for the reading and enacting of the bylaw, which is bylaw number 13-2024, to enter into the renewal agreement. Sample. By Councilor Lopier. In favor? It's carried. All right, second item is a request for a flag raising from the Polish Highlanders Association of Canada, requesting that the Polish flag be raised from May 2nd to May 31st. Copy of their request form is in the agenda. I'll move for a second to receive that report and to authorize the raising of the flag.
Just a quick question,
Let's get a motion.
Oh, sure, it's like.
Sure,
yeah.
Okay, moved by Councilor Wagner, second by Councilor Donato. Okay.
Is that the timeline that we normally have for flag raising? It seems longer than sort of what we normally do.
Through your worship, they had requested a flag raising last May as well, and it's longer than that.
Okay, I'm just making sure, don't want anybody mad. It's like, why are they flying for longer than what, ours? Well,
I'll just add that from there. So within the protocol, if there were numerous requests for the same month,
okay,
the town would look at balancing that with fairness and equity. So if you ask for a month that 3 other organizations would also like that month, we will have to assign certain organizations a week or even a day. In this case, because there were no other organizational requests for the same duration, they got what they requested.
then it's okay, perfect, all right, just so that the community understands that as well.
Sorry, just one more add-on, that's similar to this month with autism awareness and
Yeah.
street flag raising. That's where we use discretion and allow them to sort of time.
That like sort of even it out, I guess you could say, right? Okay, perfect.
Okay. All right. Councilor Sutton, all in favor? Carried. All right, next is a resolution from the Arts, Culture and Heritage Committee, looking to sort of revise their mandate. So they sent through kind of a revised list of priorities. Councillor Deacon's not here. Councillor Wagner, you're on that committee as well, right? Did you
Yeah.
want to speak to that at all?
Yeah, it's basically just sort of combining, because we decided to combine the two committees together, arts and culture and heritage. We just sort of had to come up with a new mandate that would sort of speak to both committees, but yet sort of narrow it down a little bit more to just, you know, a few points here and there that would best speak to both committees now being one committee, if that makes sense. So it hasn't changed all that much, it just now encompasses more of marriage of the two committees.
Move the
Yeah.
adoption of those, okay?
Yeah, sure, I can move that.
Second, Councillor Sample. Any further discussion, Councillor Donato?
Just a quick question on the grant part. Is that something that the committee would be looking at the grants and evaluating them? Or is that something that would go through the regular grant committee and recommendations?
Yeah, it would likely be, if, you know, maybe if somebody within the committee heard of a grant or something of that nature, it would go to town staff. So it's.
Oh, so it's grants of that nature, not grants requested by people coming in?
No, nothing like that, cause that goes against our other policy, where we as a committee can't donate to anything like that, right? Like initially, back in the day, before we created the new policy as council, the Heritage Committee used to sponsor something in the fall fair. But we can't do that now as the Heritage Committee, so it wouldn't be like a grant like you're thinking within our council grant. It would be like federal, provincial grants or something like that, or grants offered through the Heritage Society of Ontario. And then they would go to town staff, not us personally as the committee.
So if the arts and culture were kind of looking for, people who are coming to look for grants, they would go through the regular grant process.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, for sure,
That was-
yeah, we can't as a committee, we can only kind of get our money either through fundraising or sort of sponsorship, it depends on where that would lay. And through council budget, like through requesting that we have a specific budget for the committee. So we can't give that money to anyone else. It has to be used for either events or, you know, funding of products, things like that, for the Arts and Culture Committee itself.
Scale, just noticed a minor typo.
Oh.
It's referred to Jack Downey Park, as you should Jack Downey.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
We will fix that.
All right, any further discussion on that? All in favor? Carried. All right, next is a memo from our council grant funding committee regarding a request for an in-kind donation to Streams Community Hub totaling $1,309.67, which is essentially just for the use of Grace Stephen Hall and the town art gallery. Councilor Donato, did you want to speak to that at all?
It's an in-kind grant and it's something that, we, they've done in the past and, we felt that, it's a good for the time frame that we're looking for and what they can do, so we did that.
Over.
Sure.
Second for that. Super sample. Any discussion on that one? All in favor? It's carried. All right, next is a notice of motion that was brought by Councilor Wagner. Yeah, so item number 5 was a notice of motion from Councilor Wagner that she brought at February 26th meeting. I won't read the whole thing out.
I know, I was just
It's fairly.
read that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I won't ask you to do it.
So long.
Is there a seconder for it? Well, Mr. Tomato. Councilor White Arrow. I'll let you sort of summarize.
Yes,
the
yes.
intent of the motion.
Okay, so it basically just stems from since we as council adopted the Parks and Rec master plan. The task force was sort of set in place to bring recommendations to council with regards to aspects of the town within Parks and Rec. So, you know, things that they wanted to see, updates to certain areas and whatnot. And with this, the Parks and Rec master plan, we've kind of already done that. So, we were struggling, I guess you could say, as a committee, just to find purpose of like, okay, why are we here? Cause you guys kind of already have looked through all of this stuff and you know, made the recommendations, you've approved what you'd like, you know, what we as council would love to see for the town moving forward. And it was difficult getting some quorum, and so some meetings were missed and things of that nature. So I feel like although the committee members, you know, are great, and I really appreciate them wanting to be in the committee and devoting their time and effort, it just seemed a little counterproductive because we sort of already have a plan.
I think when I read through that, I think originally I brought the motion to strike that task force, and I think we actually framed it as a task force instead of as a committee, because we figured that the mandate is sort of be time limited and it's not intended to be something that goes on in perpetuity, so I'm fine with that. I think it did fulfill its mandate.
Yeah, and we feel like too, like there's always going to be an opportunity for community as a whole to reach out to us as council or to staff and, you know, share their concerns or their wishes, their wants, you know, things of that nature. So it's not like because we would be disbanding this that there's no more conversation, you know, like what council says is in the plan is what we're doing and that's it. Like there's always that opportunity to speak to us and say, you know, for example, within the master plan, we were looking at Simon Court Park. And, you know, the initial sort of plan was to remove it, right? I mean, it seems like it's not really utilized that much and whatnot. You know, community members spoke up and said, whoa, no, we actually still want this park, we use it quite a bit. So it's not that, you know, with this being disbanded, that there will be no more conversation or no more input from the community, because that's still able to take place. It's just, we sort of have a plan to move forward with, and it just seems a little, we were struggling to find this, so.
So just to echo what you're saying through the mayor, within the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, there are elements within the project before it's implemented that we always would engage.
Yeah.
So for example, we've had a past practice where even with the playground, we created some modeling and options, and we asked the community, which would you prefer? So that there's community consultation that reflects their priorities for that unit. So for example, this will happen with Fiddle Park. There'll be elements within every park development that we will have formal community engagement. In some cases, similar to what we've done with Fiddle Park at the front end, we will bring those plans back, just to make sure that the pulse of what we're seeing is reaffirmed by the community in terms of what they want for their need.
Yeah. For sure.
Other thoughts? All right, and the last item under the regular agenda is a bylaw, but the maintenance of private property and a clean and clear condition within the town of Shelburne. Jennifer, do you want to speak to that one?
Yes, through your worship, this stems from my report presented at the March 11th meeting, in where we requested the Clean Air bylaw be amended to include damage to the front yard as a result of vehicles parking within.
And just in extension of the conversation we had at that meeting, that there is going to be additional follow-up about parking issues, that this is strictly just dealing with damage caused by vehicles parking.
Damage to the lawn, that's correct. It doesn't specifically relate to vehicles parked there.
Yeah.
It's just damage to.
Okay. As a mover and seconder for that, Councilor Donato. Councilor Sherry, are you seconding that? Okay. All right, any discussion on that?
Just a quick question. You said you were going to engage the public in discussion. Did we do that? And did we get any public reaction back from the whole bylaw?
So the public engagement session is proposed for the end of April.
Okay.
And then the direction from council was to bring back a report on what that public engagement involves.
Okay.
And that's for the parking, more or less, right? No, that's,
Right, that's to deal with the parking within front and side areas.
Yes.
And a better mechanism for.
I know we on the actual front line, so there's no issue in regards to people. Maybe saying it's my party, I can do whatever I want with this sort of thing.
And so that's what the public engagement will determine,
Yeah.
whether or not if those discussions will take place.
Okay.
And fine.
And the front, yeah.
So this just gives us, our bylaw officers a means to write a notice to the homeowner and say your yard is a mess and just clean it up,
Correct.
basically.
That's correct.
yeah, like your lawn is damaged, it needs to be fixed, so it looks presentable.
So when are we starting to enforce this?
Upon passing of the bylaw, so I believe it's the amendments to the bylaw will be effective March 26th.
So if there is groundwork that needs to be done, I would probably not wanna do it myself, because I'm just gonna waste money. So if I'm gonna lay seed or sod or leveling or anything like that, it's just not gonna happen. I mean, it's fair to say that we're not gonna fix our boulevards because of the machines. Why are we forcing the owners to fix the yards when the yards are not ready yet, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense, and through your worship, this is to address the significant thanks for the city.
Okay.
Whereby it's being tracked on sidewalks on the road.
Okay.
This will give us a mechanism to enforce those measures.
And it wouldn't be as though the bylaw officer was more, let's say, yeah, that was fixed.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I'm just trying to get at to, it's just, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to figure all that stuff out, because I know what's gonna happen, I know this is gonna come out, and then all of a sudden, my phone's gonna go off the wall tonight, it's gonna happen, so.
So there's no.
So I just wanna understand it, so make sure that I can explain it well enough when I'm being asked those questions, is that if it's coming out, that we've got the right information going out, because
Yeah.
they're gonna say, well, you're not fixing my boulevard, now you want me to fix my yard, so.
So
Okay.
similarly, what we've always focused in on through bylaw services is one of our major goals is compliance and education. So through this process, now that it's actually a function of this bylaw, is education and awareness would be the first step. So hi resident ABC, I'm here on behalf of the town, which is proactive. Can still be complaint driven. We need you to acknowledge and take steps for compliance. And that's about the process at this point, because the second phase of this is to come back as, so, we're gonna ask, so the public engagement session would actually then provide us with the input to bring the report back to council for Jennifer's report. And also reaffirm or revise what potentially would be the recommended charge in the formal process for that non-compliance. But as you all, few of you have noted, you receive complaints, and so does the town, that not only, it's not really as much about the aesthetic, it's about the other detrimental impacts to the adjacent properties and public property that we are observing, and they are saying is not acceptable to them.
Okay.
So you wanna piggyback on that, it's your team.
Through your worship, that's exactly the information I was gonna convey, is that there is an education and communication component. And for violation notices are issued and re-inspection fees take place. So that'll be knocking on the door, we pass amendment to our clean yards bylaw, that refers to, the condition of your lawn as a result of vehicle parking there. So, While it is proactive, we're gonna give you a certain timeframe to fix it. If it remains this way 30 days from now, that's when the reinspection might kick in.
How long does when you're handing something out like that, it's not a short form ticket, is it?
No, that's not, it's a notice of violation that's issued to the homeowner.
It's a violation.
So first is education communication, secondary is a notice of violation, thirdly, it's a reinspection fee. If they remain non-compliant.
And at what point, if they still remain non-compliant, do we have to go in and fix it?
No,
We never do that.
no.
It's not going to be serious with private property, right?
At that point, you could probably part 3 summons automatic to court. But that's an extreme measure.
Okay. Right, I understand the process too.
Yeah, no,
Well,
for sure.
So is it? Just wanna make sure that. They're gonna be driving around, they'll see this. They'll make their notes, and then they'll come back and go back whenever, or see it at the time, or knock on the door. All that kind of stuff. So does that include, trailers with garbage, trailers with this, toilet bowls sitting in the front yards, all this kind of stuff, is that all gonna be cleaned up on this too?
Not within this is only specifically for vehicle parking, as defined in the bylaw. Clean yards also incorporates.
Should cover
There
that.
already is.
So it's other already
This is just
for that,
adding that one specific thing to the larger.
Yes.
You already can't have total.
Flowers.
Right?
We haven't for a while.
Just throwing it out there.
Beauties in the eye.
Yeah.
And so my thought is, I personally would rather sit on this until we get all our information back that we're gonna collect and everything. People already know that they're gonna have to clean out and all that kind of stuff, that's just my feeling on it, so you guys do what you will, but I'm just asking to hold off on it until we get all our information. So, we're coming into the April 15th around the corner, we're back on the streets. And then I'd rather see something go into place that they can, you know what I mean? Because they're not gonna be able to move their cars. They don't know where they're gonna put their cars, what they're gonna do, until we give them time to do it. Because I know there's houses with 4 or 5 cars in it right now because of kids that are driving. And they've got the garage full, they've got the boulevard full, they got the driveway full, and they got a car on the walkway, you know what I mean? They just got nowhere else to put a car. They're not gonna keep their kids out onto the street and say, here, go sleep in your car, somewhere to move it around, you know what I mean? I'd rather wait on this to get all the information, April 15th is gonna come. Then they can go back to them and say, listen, your yard's a mess, clean it up, break it, seed it, sod it, whatever you do after April 15th. Bylaws removed, so you're not gonna be able to move the car anywhere. So they're gonna go in for an information session, asked to do this, they can't fix it yet, because they can't get their cars off the yard yet, so.
You need to go get my cars in the garage.
So that's just my feeling, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote to hold off this, but Jennifer.
Sorry, I just wanted to make one thing clear, that parking on the front lawn is still not permitted within the zoning bylaws, irregardless of physically yards or proposed public engagement session.
Sure.
This was just a mechanism to try to provide a easier enforcement of that issue.
I think I mean, I don't know, like you said, I totally get the whole extra cars thing and kids staying home longer and all that stuff, because the cost of purchasing a house and whatnot is crazy right now, but I think this just what this does is just allows the first step of just that education, right? So as you know, the clerk has mentioned, you can't park on your lawn as it is, we understand that you probably are. And that may or may not involve a consequence for you, but I think this just sort of allows the bylaw to potentially get a leg up on, because there could be multiple properties that have this issue. And it just allows us just that little extra bit of time to sort of just a door knock and say, hey, you know, this, your lawn will need to be addressed, right? Doesn't necessarily need to be addressed right now, but it just gives us that little extra time to sort of make sure that we can get our rounds done, so that by the time we are expecting their lawns to be fixed, people have been aware of it and they can start working towards that. And like you said, April 15th is coming real soon, so at that point, when their, you know, vehicles are back on the road or whatnot, then they can have in the back of their minds, okay, I gotta start thinking about how I'm gonna fix the front lawn, right? So it's not like we're gonna give them a fine like immediately or anything like that, it's just allowing us those, no, well, I know, but like I said, like, it's just allowing us a little bit more time.
This is there for them to knock on the door, to say you're not allowed to park your car.
This makes it that way though. Like-
Clean our back, or you said. you
Yeah.
can't park your
No,
car.
well, yeah, and of course, yes,
So.
but they don't know that there's a point that says, okay, I know I can't park here, but once I'm done parking here, I'm done.
I think
They don't know that their lawn is being
Like,
fixed.
The zoning bylaw prohibits parking on lawns, that's reactive, so that's only gonna happen if somebody
It's only
calls and complains, this is my neighbor's parking.
Yeah,
This creates another mechanism for bylaw, it's proactive. When they're out driving around, if they see 3-foot ruts in somebody's lawn, to pay them a visit and say, look, you know, more or less as a courtesy, on the first drop in, you're gonna have to do something about it.
Yeah.
You know, we'll check back at a later date, work with you to reach compliance. I know what you're saying, but I think the two things can run concurrently, we can do this, we can still have that bigger conversation with public engagement about how we actually tackle the parking problem.
Yeah.
And hopefully find a way that kind of balances all the competing interests.
In my mind, it also means that say homeowner, 5 cars sitting in his house, I'm certainly about where those 5 cars need to be parked next week. Because he's not gonna be parking stuff on next week.
well, it depends on how next bylaw goes.
That's what the next bylaw goes.
Right, so we don't know yet about that, but I think it just,
The zoning bylaw said you can't park there. And the education one says the zoning bylaw, you can't park there. And next year, your neighbors are gonna be whining and complaining again. And the proactive part of it comes into play where you have to fix that lawn. Every time you're fixing that lawn, it's costing you money.
yeah,
I think the education part is that you gotta start thinking of other places to park those 5 extra, or 3 extra cars you've got, whether it be at make a deal with the school, park in the parking lot, the arena, I don't care where you want to park it. But you gotta find another spot to park the 3 extra cars, and the kids may have to walk a couple of blocks to get home. So, look,
I know,
that's
I know.
life.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what I'm saying, it gives them some time to think about it, they've got time, but.
But that's the issue, is that when it comes snow time, nobody wants any overnight parking because of plowing. So the Legion shuts down their parking because of overnight plowing,
Football fair does.
All Fair does, CDRC does. Like, they don't want overnight parking because if the plow trucks go in and they can't plow, they're driving away.
Yeah.
That makes a problem.
You can make a deal with the fairgrounds, so you can plow the fairgrounds, but parking there.
I'm just saying, it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough, I know.
It is, it's not an easy.
It's not an easy
topic.
thing. It's not, why is, but it's not about the, way the province is set up, where you park in the garage, nobody parks.
Yeah.
Who will stay?
I just wanted to note in terms of process, given some of the comments. The reason that it's important to have this component go forward first is then we'll have some evidence-based data on how much on a proactive base we have encountered. So if we come back to that meeting and say, we have 200 homes, or 200 front lawns, or 2,000, that would be indicative of how significant or non-significant the issue is.
Yeah.
So that, we think that process to have this initiated in advance is very strategic and also provides us an opportunity to present that information, irrespective of the fact that we've got homes that have 5 cars and whatever else they have to deal with. And you're right, the reason that this is an issue is because of the prohibition of parking on the road, but that's not gonna change. The only thing that we've discussed in staff that might change is potentially, as this climate seems to warm up, is the length from the implementation to the duration, right, closing, still warranted? Or should it be shortened in, when we look at our best practices with other municipalities? And that might provide some flexibility going forward, but it's not gonna eliminate the no on-road parking.
Well, I understand.
So every year, there's gonna be more things with wheels that can park on the street.
Right, so. Our bylaws officers are gonna be driving around. Looking for this information because we have a bylaw now passed, why can't we just set direction for them to drive around? Come back with a number and say we have 2,000 homes that need fixed, instead of putting a bylaw in place to do this type of stuff now. When we just tell our bylaw officers to look at it and report it to bring it back to us. I'm confused.
So part of, so Jennifer's report last time addressed the recommendation that we would bring this component of what we were recommending to this meeting. The second phase of that would be this. There still is real benefit in having it embedded in the proactive component of process. Because that engagement with the homeowner may create compliance, and there may be education and understanding that's lacking. And then it also, in fairness to those members of the public who have been complaining using the no parking on the front line under the planning zoning approach. So you have. I'm just saying, I don't know. So you have members of the community who are unhappy due to the behavior of their, say, colleague neighbors. That they don't appreciate that aesthetic and what they believe is something impeding on the enjoyment of their property or the homes around them. And then you have those that you're, I think, capturing, and we are trying as staff to provide a balanced approach. There's no fines associated with this, it's compliance, but I'm also saying one of the benefits of this is it will create some data that will help us, at least in this process, not only present that to the public in the engagement session, but follow up with that in the staff report.
Which could be beneficial, because even though we're gonna put out surveys,
So.
well, no.
Yeah, I think we're going around.
We're gonna go around a civil.
I know, I know.
Agree with it right now.
And that's, and I think everybody is where they're at.
It's just we don't get public engagement sometimes like we want, so having the numbers from by law would be helpful.
It'll help. So
Yeah.
anyways, we'll call the question on this one and we'll continue the discussion in a different context at a later date. All right, so all those in favor of amending the bylaw in accordance with the report? Opposed? Okay. That's good. All right, good discussion. Any notices of motion for tonight before we move on to communications, Councilor Bernardo?
I for notice motion, be it resolved that we encourage all levels of government to eradicate all forms of racism, especially Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. And that this motion be sent to our MP and MPP in all municipalities. And I would ask if we withdraw our procedural bylaws tonight and vote on it tonight, if that's possible. If council's free. Next meeting.
So I think the procedure is, as long as it's a unanimous consent, so is there anybody opposed to considering the motion tonight?
As long as it covers both, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Next question, is there a second for the motion? Sure. Any discussion on it? All in favor? It's carried. Okay. All right, any other notices of motion? Okay. Communications, the first item, which are the BIA minutes from March 13th. Looks like the BIA is looking to pursue an expansion, and as part of that, there's a public meeting that is required to take place, and in the minutes, it looks as though they're requesting the town to allow them to hold that meeting in Grace Gitlin Hall here. And I guess formally, we need a resolution allowing that. We don't know the date though. Can we give sort of an open-ended resolution to authorize it as long as it doesn't conflict with another booking? Or should we go back and ask, Councilor Bichetti?
They were, sorry, Mr. Mayor, they were looking early June. for a date.
When's your next BIA meeting?
It's at the call of the chair, but I assume it will be shortly after I return.
Okay. Could we maybe pin down an actual date?
I can get that started. Even by
Maybe a
email.
couple of possible dates?
Yeah, I'll get a couple of dates.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Councilor Richardi, through the mayor, I just need to clarify, protocol, because this is not the public meeting. With respect to the formal expansion of the BIA, then I understood that this is more of a general information gathering engagement session in speaking with Melissa. And if it is actually the public meeting, then there are significant process and steps that are required that, including a staff report to council and all of the information. So if this is just an informal meeting to share information with businesses on where the BIA is hoping to go in the future with respect, you're fine. But if this is the formal statutory public meeting as part of the BIA expansion, which requires significant involvement of the town, then this is too early in the process to go forward. So again, I understood that this is simply a very informal discussion, an invitation based and a presentation on the potential expansion and what that means to the BIA with respect to not only the budget, but a whole range of service options.
Okay, that's what I had also understood it to be, just as an information meeting.
Okay, well, if you can come back with some dates, then we can address that with some more certainty. The only other thing I wanted to highlight, item number 4, I guess, is the correspondence from Headwaters Healthcare Center about retirement of Tom Reed, who's our chief Dauphin County paramedic. I just wanted to bring everybody's attention to that. Tom's been chief for more than 25 years, but has a career of 41 years. He's going to be retiring at the end of April. And I just thought it might be nice if we sent a letter on behalf of council thanking Tom for his years of service. If anybody happens to see him between now and April 30th, to wish him all the best in his retirement. I know he's busy. I was kind of teasing him at a recent county council meeting, and he was counting the days in classic Tom style. He said, "No, I have too much stuff to get ready to finish up before I leave." You know, for some people might just say, "Well, I'm done. The next guy can worry about it." Tom busy working through his to-do list. So, congratulations to Tom. It's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, good maybe should say something that is formal post and push or something like that. Perhaps the is 41 years of.
Yeah, we could do a resolution, I guess, too. Sure. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind moving it because I think it's something that is rare these days.
Yeah.
That public dedication.
Okay, so a seconder for that then. Okay. All right. Yeah, and then maybe what I can do is just I'll draft a letter to Tom on behalf of council, but reference the resolution as well. Okay, all in favor of that one? Carried. Sorry, anything else in communications? Councilor Donato?
I had 2, I had 4 as well, but 2, I know Kyle's not here tonight, but with reference to the NVCA remapping, we have an area on the south side of town, which they've always mapped as being very wet, referring to the different property. And, I like, and some people that are older than me have also mentioned that it's never flooding. And so we're wondering, if we can, get it maybe removed from their mapping or obviously legislation will practice, hoping that between, staff at the NBC, they can maybe help us with some more answers on that. And my other one was number 6, motion to support for the resolution from Lori loyalist for producers to take responsibility for all of the blue box products and packaging, especially from the ineligible sources that they don't currently take any responsibility for. So that should always supports it, yeah. I think it's pretty unfair that we have to take responsibility, and then there's a lot of companies out there that aren't.
Okay, is there a second for that? All in favor? Carried. All right, can I get a motion then to receive the remaining items? Mr. Sample, second by Councilor Donato. In favor? Carried. Motion for the confirming bylaw. Councilor Sample, second by Councilor Shardy. In favor? Carried. And motion to adjourn.
Right, that's for clarity. Your turn.
Councilor Shardy, nobody puts their hand up.
Usually I'm just nominated.
Seconded by Councilor Waymaker. All in favor? Carried. All right, thank you.